You know, it's easy to say that Marjorie Taylor Greene is stupid, because she clearly is. But like my good buddy Denver Riggleman said, she's stupid, but she's just smart enough to know how to grift and dupe gullible chuckleheads. Whenever I see someone like a Marjorie Taylor Greene up in front of an audience and I see that audience cheering them on, I say to myself, you know, it's one thing that this person is saying something so over-the-top stupid and sometimes so over-the-top dangerous. But what's even worse to me is the fact that they have a crowd of people sitting there cheering it on. Anytime anyone sent me a clip of some hate pastor just ranting from his pulpit, I say to myself, okay, I can see someone being deranged and full of hate and just wanting to shout at the world, but there's people that are clapping and applauding it. The people that we grew up with, the people that we once thought were reasonable people, they're cheering this crap on. I have seen so many good, decent people that I grew up with and thought highly of share clips like I'm about to show you and pump their fist in agreement with it. And that's the part that I will never fully be able to wrap my head around. But you guys take a look at this clip of Marge where she's basically saying that she's going to lock up Anthony Fauci. Now, I'm sure one day they'll try to gaslight us and say, no, they never said it. But here's the clip showing that she did.
I was in Washington, D.C., and I'll never forget when the Biden administration and Nancy Pelosi, as Speaker of the House, brought in nearly 30,000 National Guardsmen and turned our Capitol complex into a military base. And you weren't allowed in there. The American people weren't allowed in there. And then they proceeded to shut down the country over COVID. They masked school children. They shut down schools. They closed beaches. They silenced your speech. They kicked you off social media. They attacked the very core of our freedoms, all for a virus that they made in a lab in Wuhan, China. And yes, Dr. Anthony Fauci should be tried for crimes against humanity. That's right. That's right. Well, I can assure you, if I have anything to do with it, we will lock him up. He belongs in prison.
Again, I'm not at all shocked that Marjorie Taylor Greene would stand up and say something like that, but what really disturbs me is the fact that she's got people on their feet, pumping their fist in agreement with that and believing everything that she's saying. That should truly disturb everyone. And when Marjorie Taylor Greene says she wants to defund the FBI, she wants to defund the DOJ, she wants to stop the weaponization of government, but then turns around and says we're going to lock up Fauci, then who's going to lock up Fauci? Who's going to go after him? Is he going to get a fair trial? Or is it going to be like Donald Trump always talks about the dictators and how they have quick trials and it's over with. They're stronger in other countries. He's out there praising dictators, and she is wanting to do away with all of the institutions we have that holds people accountable and leave it solely in the hands of the President of the United States, and that is not what this country was or ever should or ever will be about. But I want to play this next clip for you because Ben Meiselas had Seth Magaziner on his show. And, man, Seth just absolutely knocks it out of the park when it comes to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Take a look at this.
This is all part of their plan to turn Donald Trump into a dictator. I mean, that's what they want. That's what Trump wants, and therefore it is what Marjorie wants and Matt Gaetz and the rest of them. They want him to be able to break the law whenever he wants, however he wants. They want his followers, like on January 6th, to be able to break the law whenever they want. And as long as they do it under a MAGA banner, then they don't want there to be any consequences. And they're totally fine with, you know, these private militias, the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and the Three Percenters using violence, using intimidation to suppress liberals and people of color and anyone who's different from them. But they don't want there to be any consequences. And so, you know, this whole notion that Republicans are the party that support law enforcement and back the blue, I mean, Marjorie just admitted it's not true. And what's really disturbing to me about all of this is the way that this is not just a few crackpots anymore. It's not just like Marjorie and one or two others anymore, but it's become normalized across most Republicans in Congress. you mentioned that I'm on the Homeland Security Committee. So is she. Like she should not be within 100 yards of the Homeland Security Committee because she coddles domestic extremists. Like she supports people who stormed the Capitol and attacked police officers on January 6th. She's trying to defund the Department of Justice. And they reward that behavior by putting her on the Homeland Security Committee. There are two other equally extreme, less high profile, but equally extreme members of the House, Scott Perry and Ronnie Jackson, who's Trump's former doctor and, possibly drug dealer. The Speaker of the House, Speaker Johnson, just appointed both of them to that House Intelligence Committee, where they will have access to our country's most closely guarded national security secrets. Like, this is not just a isolated case of a few lunatics. Unfortunately, now the lunatics are running the asylum, and Speaker Johnson is appointing them to very sensitive committees, and it's yet another reason why Democrats have to win elections this fall.
He's absolutely spot on. They want to make Donald Trump dictator. They want to do it under a MAGA umbrella, and they want to dodge any and all accountability. They will never step forward and take responsibility for their own actions. They'll never take any accountability, and they will never throw one of their own under the bus. We saw what they did on January 6th. Marjorie Taylor Greene had literally just got elected, and right at the start of her term had to ask for a pardon. That should tell you everything you need to know about who Marge is. She has sat back and she has coddled these domestic terrorists, these insurrectionists, and she's called them patriots and hostages, and she sings their praises every chance she gets. And she did not care one bit that they were outside chanting "Hang Mike Pence." She didn't care that an officer lost his life. None of those things mattered. All she would do is wear around a shirt that said "Remember Ashley Babbitt," one of the people that was trying to knock down the door. That's the type of people they are, and they've got an audience. And like he said, this isn't just a few whack jobs in the party now. That's how it used to be. There's always been a few nut job extremists over here doing their thing. But they've made it into the mainstream, folks. They have made it into the mainstream. They've took over one of the major political parties in this country. And when they say they want to do away with the FBI, the DOJ, and all of those things, stop the weaponization of government, what they're essentially saying is they want to make Donald Trump dictator and let him just have free reins to do whatever he wants. And every time they've ever tried to pin him down and get him to say that, he wouldn't use that, he wouldn't weaponize the government against his opponents, he won't say that he won't do it. He always goes back to, but I would have every right to. And you heard her say herself, if she had anything to do with it, she would lock him up. So a couple of months from now, or whenever it is that they come out and say, we never said lock up Fauci, we never said that, we have the clip to prove that they did. I'm so sick of their gaslighting. I'm so sick of their bullshit. And I just really, every day when I sit down in this chair, I'm hoping that someone out there who's still sitting there on the fence, someone out there who's an independent or a moderate, will look around and go, you know what? Maybe this guy's got a point. Maybe if we vote for Joe Biden and the Democrats this go around, we'll have a chance to vote again later. Because this is not Joe Biden weaponizing the government against Republicans. This is not him trying to take away people's First Amendment rights, Second Amendment rights. He's not trying to lock up political opponents. What's happening is Donald Trump is being held accountable for his actions. And people that went out there and tried to do a cheap imitation of him, they're being held responsible and accountable for their actions. And that's how it should be. If it's not that way, if they just have free reins, then everything the Founding Fathers put in place, in my mind, was for nothing. Everything that our grandfathers ever fought for was for nothing. If at the end of the day, these people are allowed to just give full reins over to one guy. It's not normal. We're never going to normalize it. We're going to keep calling it out, and we're going to keep encouraging people, vote on the side of democracy. And folks, it's clear which side that is at this point.